Early reviews of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny are full of it. They talked about how this movie was soulless, it was boring, it didn't fit an Indiana Jones movie. I think that's coming down to more of the fact that some of these people are a bit snooty at Cannes Film Festival. You're going to Cannes Film Festival to watch Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny? No. It's an Indiana Jones movie, everybody. I went to go see it last night, and I can safely say that it is a pretty good Indiana Jones movie. It is not the best in the series. It is not as bad as Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Not that that movie is all that bad, but it fits in with the rest of the series while still feeling like there's a bit of that magic that's not there. So let's dive into Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Here's my review. To start off, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, it stars Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. It stars Phoebe Waller-Bridge as Helena Shaw. It also features Toby Jones. It features Mads Mikkelsen as the villain. It features Boyd Holbrook, and it also features Antonio Banderas. I almost forgot about him. He's not in the movie very long, but I almost forgot about him. Other than that, it's a pretty small cast. It's a small cast for an Indiana Jones movie where you still have all of the elements that you'd like. You have globe-trotting adventures. You have a red line on a map that's going to dots. You have that classic Indiana Jones humor. You have some great action set pieces. And of course, Indiana Jones still really hates Nazis. So if you like all of that stuff, you're going to end up liking Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. It features this sort of theme throughout the mix of time passing you by as you get older, as this time runs out and sort of people will get forgotten to time, just like the artifacts that Indiana Jones is trying to go after. And it's an interesting through line through the movie because the villain, Jurgen, also has this feeling. He talks to Indiana Jones about this feeling, and so you get this interesting sort of mix between the hero and villain here. It works really well. The movie does feel a little bit like it's missing that magic like you have with Raiders of the Lost Ark, with that sort of wide-eyed wonder that you get watching that movie, with Temple of Doom, with Short Round, and sort of the action just over the top and some of those horror elements that you get with that movie. And then, of course, with The Last Crusade, you have Sean Connery and the father-son dynamic of that movie. That is my favorite Indiana Jones movie. It's the best one. But this movie feels like it's missing that a little bit. You do have some of that sort of Short Round vibes with Teddy, one of the characters in the film that's a kid that tags along with Helena, but it's not as fleshed out, and it just doesn't feel like it's as important as those other relationships. The magic of this movie is in Harrison Ford and it being his final performance as Indiana Jones. That carries the film throughout, but where it does drag a little bit in the middle section of the film, it does really sort of hit this point where you go, it's kind of going on the downhill. But once you hit that third act, it gets back some of that magic and then some. It's all about this dial that Archimedes, the great inventor, created, and it might or might not be able to make a man into a god if they can control it. I don't want to delve too much into it because there are spoilers with this Dial of Destiny that comes out. The motivation for the villain to get this is pretty clear. It's you learn that from the first 25 minutes of the movie. Speaking of those first 25 minutes, that's where you get the most of the de-aged Harrison Ford. And comparing it to some of the past de-agings that we've had, Michael Douglas and Ant-Man and the Wasp, that's a pretty good example of how it can actually look and sort of aid the film. Captain Marvel's de-aging is among the best. And then you get something like Tron Legacy, which was like the first one where Jeff Bridges looked like a robot, but it worked because he was playing a computer program that was not supposed to look like the real Jeff Bridges. Here, it's probably among the best examples of the technology of de-aging. It captures the sort of facial features of Harrison Ford really well. It captures his mouth movements and everything like that. And after a certain point, it's not super jarring. It is jarring a little bit when you first see it because it's like that sort of effect where something looks human, but it's not. And so when you get past that point, and it's only in the first act, that's not a spoiler, the first act wouldn't happen without this de-aging technology because, like The Last Crusade, you can cast somebody as a really young Indiana Jones, but trying to recast Harrison Ford as the Indiana Jones that we know and love, not going to work as well. So it was a lot of press made about that portion of the film, but it's really only in the first 20 minutes or so, and then you get to this tale of Indiana Jones going on one last adventure. For the He-Man woman haters out there, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is good in this film. She is strong. She works well off of Harrison Ford's performance, but she doesn't take away from Harrison Ford's performance. Everybody in this movie knows exactly what this movie is. It is Harrison Ford's final performance as Indiana Jones. You don't want to take away from that. You want to add to it. Everybody adds to that performance at least a little bit. Even the lesser performances, or the performances that don't get as much love in this one, they all add to it, which is great. It does nothing takes away from Harrison Ford's final act as the character, and that's the beautiful part of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. That title, the Dial of Destiny, speaks about the dial, the actual physical dial in the film that they're all trying to go after, and it speaks about also this beautiful sort of feeling in the film that is, this is the dial of destiny for Harrison Ford, for Indiana Jones. It is the dial that we all hear, the phone dial ringing, hello, that we all hear in our lives, and we're all here, supposed to be here for a reason, and everything happens for a reason, and that's the beautiful part of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. It is a beautiful, beautiful film at the end of the day. It's one of the most vibrant and colorful Indiana Jones films since maybe Temple of Doom, and you get an excellent directing performance here from James Mangold. He takes the reins from Steven Spielberg excellently, but the film does suffer a little bit where it feels like there's a lack of heart or a lack of feeling in certain sections, especially with the villains. Mads Mikkelsen is great, but the other guys around him are just kind of, you don't know their motivations, you don't know a lot of what's going on. They're just kind of evil to be evil. And so that's where it lacks the most, is in that category. But if you love Indiana Jones, if you love this film series, if you love Harrison Ford, you're going to love Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. It is, don't listen to the early critic reviews. Don't listen to snooty people that are talking about, oh, well, it's soulless and it doesn't have a bud. Don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about, especially these people that want to just tear something down because they saw it at Cannes Film Festival. It's a fantastic Indiana Jones movie, and it is one that doesn't piss on the legacy of the character. It adds to it. It gives us a nostalgic character, but not in the way that other nostalgia acts have been doing it lately since The Last Skywalker, when people got mad that they did this. You get an Indiana Jones that has seen some stuff. You get an Indiana Jones that has wounds. He has feelings. He knows what his life has done. He can see his life as a whole, and he can see the end of his time coming. And so that's why he goes on this one last adventure in this film, and it just works. And you get a lot of emotional beats from Harrison Ford. That third act is magnificent and emotional in great ways, and the film ends in such a poignant and sort of beautiful way that you can't help but like it. So make sure to go check out Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny on June 30th in theaters. It is magnificent. And if you like more movie reviews, check out this whole playlist I have of them right here, and you can see all the ones I've done. So thanks for watching.